My blended stat of 4 advanced metrics has the quarterbacks, Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts, both as tier 2 quarterbacks out of 5 tiers. So, for no reason at all, I'm going to give the Packers 7 points. I'm just kidding. That's going to be a draw. Moving now to the wide receiver portion, the Packers have Jaden Reed, who is 18th in yards per reception, and he is rather 18th in yards per route run, not yards per reception. Cooper DeJean will be his main matchup in the slot, and DeJean ranks as the sixth best PFF coverage graded corner. He is dead average at 26% of his snaps in man coverage, and he's very good at it, earning a 79 grade, which is just absolutely stellar. So, between him having a higher PFF coverage grade than Reed has yards per route run, and with DeJean having a better man coverage grade than most corners will have, I give the edge to the Eagles here, so they have 1 point. Next, we have the rushing perspective for the Packers, where they're ninth in rushing expected points added and second in rushing defense expected points added for the Eagles. So that will be another advantage for the Eagles. The Packers have one of the best rushing attacks in the league, but the Eagles are just so supremely stout at defending the run. So I like the Eagles in that matchup as well. I think that between Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, the edge rushers they have, good linebacker play as well, and then a strong nickel as well doesn't hurt whatsoever, as Cooper DeJean is a very physical nickel, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a good safety against the run as well. Ed Reed Blankenship is also good against the run. So you add those all together, there's a lot of factors that go into the run defense, and they all work for the Eagles. So it makes sense that they have a really good run defense. As for the pressures, Rashawn Gary is 44th in pressures amongst all players. And unfortunately for him, that's not going to be enough because he's going against the second best pass blocker offensive tackle in the league in Jordan Mailata. So that is really advantageous for the Eagles. I'm not going to give a point for that because I think that negating a point for the defense is the same as earning a point for yourself. And Mailata is negating a point for Gary. So, with that said, there's no point there, but it is in favor of the Eagles. As we shift to the Eagles' perspective, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you like and subscribe as I'll be pushing out tons more football content and eventually NBA content as well. And with that out of the way, the third advantage will go to the Eagles as well, as A.J. Brown is second in yards per route run versus Carrington Valentine, who's 14th in PFF coverage grade. He plays a very low percentage of his snaps in man coverage, earning just 21% of his reps there. Again, 26% is average, as I mentioned with DeJean. He is good at it, though, when he does play the limited amount of man coverage. So on third and fourth downs, I have to say fourth downs as well because Nick Sirianni is such an aggressive coach, which I love. And he'll go for, 4th and 2, 4th and 3 situations, and they'll sometimes pass. So that is something you have to be wary of because you are going to have to play man coverage eventually in those third and fourth downs where you can't give up any yards at all. And Valentine is able to stick with Brown but I like Brown a fair amount more just because Brown has the consistency of beating man coverage. Valentine doesn't really have the consistency of playing man coverage. As for the fourth advantage, goes to the Eagles. Devonta Smith is 26th in yards per route run versus Javon Bullard, who is 86th in PFF coverage grade. He also plays a super low 18% of his snaps in man coverage, and he has a very, very poor 29 grade when in it. So he's not going to be able to match up with Smith at all in the slot. Bullard is just not a man coverage nickelback at all, and you don't want to do that, especially against Devonta Smith, who's a premier receiver in this league. I know 26 doesn't seem like the highest, but that's for all players. Well, not all players. It's not including running backs, but running backs skew the data because if they catch like one screen for 5 yards, they're going to have such an inflated yards per reception because or yards per route run. So it's just going to be a bit messy. That's why I include wide receivers and tight ends alone. Speaking of tight ends, Dallas Goedert is 18th in yards per route run. So he's even better than Devonta Smith. And he's going against Quay Walker, who's 64th in PFF coverage, and Edrin Cooper, who is an elite 8th. So because of Cooper, who is, I think, a massively underrated player, I can't remember. I think he went in the second round. If not, it was the third round. Maybe it was the fourth round. Who knows? I do not. With that said, Cooper is a fantastic rookie who is just a spark plug in the best way possible. He is really good against the run because he's so twitched up. He can shoot gaps like there's nothing to it. And he's also really good in coverage, as evident by him being the 8th best linebacker in PFF coverage grade. So he is just a fantastic player, and he's going to be able to keep Dallas Goedert in check a fair amount. Quay Walker, not so much. He sucks. But, anyways, we have now the rushing attack where the Eagles, as you could probably imagine, either one or two, they are number one in the league in rushing expected points added. Green Bay, a very respectable 8th in run defense expected points added, but I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles because that's 7 spots different. I feel like that's pretty notable at that point. So with that said, the edge goes to the Eagles to take it to 5 edges for them. Finally, for the pressure portion, which is kind of hard to say, not that hard, but a little bit hard, Josh Sweat is 27th in pressures amongst all players, and he's going against Rasheed Walker, who's 20th in pass blocking. So that's a really good matchup. That's something to watch during the game that can make you seem like you know more about football maybe than you actually do. You can be like, Josh Sweat is 27th in pressures, and Rasheed Walker, he's 20th in pass blocking. What a matchup this is. You say that to your dad, he's going to wonder why you said that to him and be just completely confused. But yeah. Next, we have Jalen Carter, who is 31st in pressures. He's going against Josh Myers, who's 22nd in pass blocking for centers. He's also going to be double teamed more than likely. It's hard to double team the Eagles because they just have so many good pass rushers, like Milton Williams as another defensive tackle in there as well. He's one of the best defensive tackle pass rushers in the league. But Sean Ryen will also be chipping at least Jalen Carter a lot of the time. And Ryen is the 24th ranked guard in pass protection according to PFF, so he's solid. For those reasons, I don't give an edge to Carter here, even though Carter is fantastic, being 31st in pressures for a defensive tackle amongst all positions is really impressive because you're getting double teamed basically every play, especially when you're good like Carter is. So, yeah, he's getting double teamed every play, I would say. And to be 31st, that's really good stuff. So, with that said, the Eagles end up with 5 advantages, and the Packers end up with 0. I don't feel like this is exactly indicative of the matchup because I do think if the Packers play their best, Jordan Love will be playing better than Jalen Hurts, and just the team as a whole will be a little bit closer to equal in a lot of areas. So there'll be an edge for the Packers that goes unnoticed here, and there will be edges that aren't actually counted that have been counted here. So, with that said, I'm still leaning the Eagles though, and I would say I lean them pretty heavily. I think that they just are the better overall team. You look through the roster, and there were several instances where the Packers are really good, but then the Eagles are really really good, and that just makes for a tough matchup for the Packers because even your strengths aren't going to be as strong as they normally would be. So for those reasons, I lean Philly. Those are my thoughts on the game, though. Be sure to let me know what yours are in the comments section, and also be sure to like and subscribe for more football content.